sannyas, sannyasya, giving up, mat paraha, being attached to me, anyena, without division, eva, certainly, yogena, by practice of such bhakti yoga, mam, unto me, dhyayantah, meditating, upasate, worship, tesham, of them, aham, I, samudharta, deliverer, mrityu, that, samsar, material existence, sagarat, from the ocean, bhavami, become, na chirat, not a long time, partha, O son of Pritha, mai, unto me, avesita, fixed, chetasam, of those whose minds are like that. One who, but everything activities unto me, giving up, being attached to me, without division, certainly, by practice of such bhakti yoga, unto me, meditating, worship of them, I deliver her. That material existence from the ocean become not a long time, O son of Pritha, unto me, fixed, of those whose minds are like that. Translation. For one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, who has fixed his mind upon me, O son of Pritha, for him I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Purport. It is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from material existence by the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to him. His duty is to render service to the Lord. If not, then he will render service to Maya. As stated before, the Supreme Lord can only be appreciated by devotional service. Therefore, one should be fully devoted. One should fix his mind fully on Krishna in order to achieve him. One should work only for Krishna. It does not matter in what kind of work one engages, but that work should be done only for Krishna. That is the standard of devotional service. The devotee does not desire any achievement other than pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His life's mission is to please Krishna, and he can sacrifice everything for Krishna's satisfaction, just as Arjuna did in the battle of Kurukshetra. The process is very simple. One can devote himself in his occupation and engage in the same time in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee to the personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord herein promises that he will without delay deliver a pure devotee, thus engaged from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by yoga process, and others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord himself takes him. He does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer him to the spiritual sky. In the Vara Puran, this verse appears Nayami Parma Sthanam Archiradi Gatim Vina Garuda Skandham Aropya Yateksham Ani Varitaha. The purport of this verse is that a devotee does not need to practice Ashtanga Yoga. In order to transfer his soul to the supreme planets, to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord himself. He clearly states here that he himself becomes the deliverer. A child is completely cared for by his parents, and thus his position is secure. Similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by his great mercy, comes at once, riding on his bird carrier Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from his material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from the material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man should always prefer the process of devotional service to all other paths. In Narayaniya, this is confirmed as Ye vai sadhana sampatti purushartha chatustaye taya vina tad apnoti naro narayana shrayah. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in the different process of fruitive activities or cultivate knowledge by the mental speculative process. One who is devoted to the Supreme Personality can attain all the benefits derived from other yogic processes, speculation, rituals, sacrifices, charities, etc. That is the specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, a devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily. But this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is stated in the 18th chapter. Sarva dharma parityaja mamekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma suchaha. One should give up all other process of self-realization and simply execute devotional service in Krishna consciousness. That will enable one to reach the highest perfection of life. There is no need for one to consider the sinful action of his past life because the Supreme Lord fully takes charge of him. Therefore, one should not futilely try to deliver himself in spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the Supreme Omnipotent Godhead Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai. So this is again a very important verse where Krishna is telling that how he's looking after his devotees and a devotee should depend on him and should not worry. And then Prabhupada in the purport compares a situation of a devotee and a situation of a non-devotee who are practicing Krishna consciousness in their own speculative way and how they struggle, and this cannot be achieved unless they follow this process. So this is again, as I always say, the Krishna has given all the instructions, all the processes that how we actually go there, how we achieve there. The problem is again implementing those instructions. Again, Prabhupada writes here that this process are also simple. It's not very hard, but it's our desire, it's our lustiness, it's our laziness that we actually, or we feel whatever reason, we don't follow the process. And Prabhupada, in the purport, Prabhupada writes, as stated before, the Supreme Lord can only be appreciated by a devotional service. Simple as this. Therefore, one should be fully devoted. That's the crux of it. That's where we struggle. And one should fix his mind fully on Krishna in order to achieve him. And one should work only for Krishna. And that's where the problem starts, my opinion. One should only work for Krishna. When we start doing things as per our own time, place, and circumstances. I don't see it's a problem, but that's my observation. Because every devotee has got his own relationship with Supreme Lord, and they do service as per their understanding. And when I look around other devotees, and also when I study and try to read Bhagavatam, and in Bhagavatam, when Parikshit Maharaj was about to leave the planet Earth, he was listening to those Bhagavatam. And I'm still trying to figure out that why Bhagavatam. It's my mental level, because there are so much information in Bhagavatam in 7 days, and why you want to listen to those information when you are about to leave your body? So that's intriguing part, that why Sukadev Goswami is so elaborately actually explaining in nitty and gritty and detailing, and who's related to what, and how the creation was happened, and who did what, and what went wrong, and how it was fixed. And then there are so many types of devotees, and Krishna appearing and then giving instructions. And so this is actually, I'm still trying to figure out that why somebody who is going to leave the body. So there has to be a plan. It was obviously for the Kali Yuga, when the Kali was getting started. And the other point which came to my mind is that we talk about parampara system. There are 4 parampara system, and there are 12 Mahajans, which actually which means Krishna has created a system in which we can follow whatever suits us. The challenge is one should work only for Krishna. Because Prabhupada writes here, it does not matter in what kind of work one engages. So when I looked at those parampara, there are different moods, they're in different situation, there are different lineage, and there are a lot of stories about them also. And then I talk about these Mahajans, the 12 Mahajans. 12 Mahajans, again, great personality. There is no relationship in their mood, in their temperament, how they actually doing bhakti, how they're actually connected there. So I'll read quickly that verse, and please excuse me, I'm trying to show off. Okay. So yeah, the verse is like this. I'll quickly recite this verse. Swayambhur Narada Sambhu Kumara Kapilo Manhu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balirvaya Sakhirvayam Dwadasaite Vijanimo Dharmam Bhagavatam Bhatah Guhyam Vishuddham Durbodham Yam Gyatva Amritam Asnute. So Guhyam Vishuddham Durbodham. This is very nicely Prabhupada translated in Sukadeva Goswami. And this story is this, that after Yamduta could not take Ajamil back to Yamraj, because Vishnu Duta appeared, and then this guy got bewildered, and they asking Yamraj that who is more powerful than him, and then he's explaining. That's the background of this story. And I'll quickly go to translation and then share some few lines from the purport. So your translation, Lord Brahma, the translation is like this: the Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narad, Lord Shiva, the 4 Kumaras, Lord Kapil, the son of Devahuti, Swayambhu Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janak Maharaj, grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Shukadev Goswami, and I myself, that's Yamraj, the real religious principle. I myself know the real religious principle. My dear servants, this transcendental religious principle, which is known as Bhagavad Dharma, that's where our discussion now happens. Bhagavad Dharma, which is known as Bhagavad Dharma, or a surrender unto Supreme Lord and love for Him, is uncontaminated by the material modes of nature. It is very confidential and difficult for ordinary human beings to understand, but if by chance one fortunately understand it, he is immediately liberated, and thus he returns home back to Godhead. So that same thing Yamraj is repeating here. Once you understand, but how do we understand? Even if we understand, we can't practice it. And then Prabhupada writes here, hopefully I can find that. Yeah, Prabhupada writes here in the purport, the same verse, give up all duties and surrender to me. Sarva dharma parityaja. Same verse here, Prabhupada also writing. One may ask, if this principle is very rarely understood, what is the use of it? That's the discussion. In answer, Yamraj states herein that the religious principle is understandable if one follows the parampara system of Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, the 4 Kumaras, and the other standard authorities. There are 4, so that's what Prabhupada is writing, and then explaining that why to do it. So the Krishna talking about in a very simplistic way that if you do this, you are taken care. The problem is that we are not able to do it. And problem is there's so many types of things happening that one has to be very focused. Otherwise, it's very easy to get distracted. So that's my relation, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much, Avinash Krishna Prabhu, for your nice realization, as usual. So, as mentioned by Avinash Prabhu, this is a very important verse and it's a very important chapter. So, we're doing Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verse 6 and 7. ये तु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मयि सन्न्यस्य मत्परः अनन्येनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषाम् अहं समुद्धर्त मृत्युसंसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मयि आवेशितचेतसाम्. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. For one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, who has fixed his mind upon me, O son of Partha, Pritha. For him, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So I've just made some few points. And as rightly mentioned by Avinash Krishna Prabhu, I was also thinking of the same point that, Srila Prabhupada mentions over here that this process is very easy, but yet we find it very difficult, or we make it very difficult. We complicate it. It is simple, but it is complicated, and that is the hard part to actually implement. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining this verse Sarva Dharman Parityaja, which is the Samam Bonam, the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. And in there, this point that there is no need for one to consider the sinful reactions of his past life because the Supreme Lord fully takes charge of him. Therefore, one should not futilely try to deliver himself in spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the Supreme Omnipotent Godhead Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. And the explanation to this is, when I was reading this, is that, devotional service to Lord Krishna, the ultimate aim of achieving that unalloyed devotional service to Lord Krishna is then that the service means you're actually thinking about the person you're serving and not about your own self. That is the first point that His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj has pointed out very, very many times. And of course, Srila Prabhupada says this also. And for me, when I heard it, it revolutionized my thinking. So there are two things. One thing Srila Gurudev, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj mentioned was that when you're serving, then you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about the person you're serving. You should be. And the second point was that you should do your service in such a way that, so 3 points, sorry. The second point is that you should do your service in such a way that everything is dependent on you. And then after you do the service, then you leave the results to Krishna. And then nothing is dependent on you. Then you're completely dependent on Krishna. And the third point was that a very expert person, when they do service, then nobody notices that they exist, but the service is done. So it's not about me, that lesson. It's not about our own bandwagon. It's not about showing everyone, oh, I'm such a great devotee, I'm doing so much service and all these things. Because then, and why I'm raising these points are because I'm getting caught up here. Even when I'm reading this, the in the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is saying, okay, do not worry about everything, just surrender unto me. Do not fear. So, yes, the fear is there in everyone's mind, that if I leave this, what will happen? If I leave that, what will happen? All this religion, this isms, everything. And Krishna is saying, don't worry, I will take care of it. Now, still we are thinking at that point also about our own self. Yes, I want to be delivered. I want to, get rid of all my karma. And so I'll surrender to Lord Krishna. And of course, we all want to go back to Godhead. We always want to be with the Lord. But here, Srila Prabhupada is explained in one of the explanations that the delivering is already happened for a devotee. It is not required. As soon as you are a devotee, it's already happened. What is important is why we want to go back, so we can have the association of Krishna. We want to see the devotee is keen and eager to meet Lord Krishna and to serve him. And so I felt that ultimately should be our consciousness. And then it shouldn't matter to us what is happening with us, wherever Krishna has taken us. Today, also in this position, the grass always appears green on the other side. After this, when I go back to Godhead, then I'll be sorted and I'll be very happy. And all these things are there. But today also you are, is what I'm telling myself. Even today, why do I question that Krishna is the one who's put us in this position in our life today? Why am I questioning in any way, what shape or form whatsoever, that I'm not in a good position? Only it is my inability to see that, or my laziness, as Avinash Prabhu was mentioning, or my not wanting to do it. I'm my biggest enemy, I feel. If I'm, after listening to all this, after reading, if I'm still struggling with my Krishna consciousness and with my consciousness, then that is going to be a very hard task, when actually it is a very easy task. In one of the other lectures, I also heard Srila Prabhupada saying about Narad Munis, because he's one of the Mahajans, and Vinash Prabhu just read the verse on the 12 Mahajans also. So, Narad Muni, as we all know, is a traveling spaceman, and he can go to any planet anytime, and is in the previous birth, we know that his mother was, serving, and they had a remnants of the food from all the great devotees and sages. And so this is his story. But in the conversation, Narad Muni is also saying that I have not misused my position. So I have not done anything. So it's not that just because Narad Muni had the remnants of from the sages, so now next life he's become such a great devotee. That is not the only thing. It is one of the things and the most important things. But then after that, there's this conversation in which he's saying that I have been very disciplined in my life after that, where I have focused on Krishna consciousness. And that really, really made me think that yes, the onus is on us. God helps them who help themselves. So Krishna is very keen to help us. Krishna is very keen that we go back to him. Krishna is very keen to reclaim all of us. But how keen are we? Is the question I'm asking myself. And if I am so keen, what am I doing? Am I really, really having that consciousness when I'm chanting? Because you're the ultimate, the only and only way in this Kali Yuga is simply by chanting. But when we are chanting, how conscious I am thinking about Krishna. Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Amrish Maharaj that every sense was used. If he is seeing, he is seeing the Lord. He was the king. So he was a very busy person, and yet the eyes were used to see Krishna. The nose was used to smell the fragrance of the flower offered to Krishna. Only and only about Krishna. If you are speaking, you're only speaking about Krishna. So immediately the thought comes, how are we supposed to do that? How is it possible? It is possible by taking little steps to begin with. It's not idealistic. I don't think it is idealistic because it's something that is possible and is realistic, and we can practically implement. But we need to have the faith and conviction and the drive and the motivation to do that devotional service and be very firm and determined in our aim to serve and see Lord Krishna in the very pure and unalloyed way. There is also mention of all these other different processes, speculation, rituals, sacrifices, charities. Nothing is required to be done. And even if after coming into Krishna consciousness, if somebody is thinking that they want the benefit from the activities apart from doing the devotional service, like all these activities that I mentioned about ritual, speculation, and all that, even for them, the assurance is given that one who is devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can attain all the benefits. But really speaking, the devotee is not interested in attaining the benefits. It's only and only purpose of a devotee is to please the Lord. And I personally really, really wish that with the mercy of all the devotees, Guru and Gauranga and Lord Krishna, that in this lifetime I may be able to achieve that pure state of consciousness where my service is to Lord Krishna, and it's not about me. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees. Thank you, His Grace Sandesh Prabhuji, for this Purna Pranam Praja, His Grace Krishna Krishna Prabhu, and all the devotees for training us and actually giving us opportunity to study and share our realization on the Bhagavad Gita. And thank you, His Grace Avinash Prabhu, and His Grace Purna Pranam Praja for your very nice realization on the first. हेतु सर्वाणि कर्माणि मय्यः अननेनैव योगेन मां ध्यायन्त उपासते तेषां मृत्यु संसारसागरात् भवामि न चिरात् पार्थ मयितचेतसां Guru. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities and me without deviation, engage in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fear for so this is a very important verse, and Srila Prabhupada has given again a very nice purport on this verse as well. So in the previous verse, Lord Krishna talked about impersonalist and Jnana Yoga process, and here again he is explaining the Bhakti Yoga personalism here again, and the importance of actually Bhakti Yoga process again highlighted in this purport given by Srila Prabhupada. So here actually it is said that one who's actually rendering devotional service unto Krishna, totally focus upon him without any deviation, and actually meditating upon Krishna. So here, actually, the similar instruction, what we have studied previously in the Bhagavad Gita verse, but actually in the purport, Srila Prabhupada actually, when I read the purport, there are a couple of points actually stand out. That here it is explained how the devotional service, the yoga process is actually the supreme process as compared to the other processes, the Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga. Comparatively, this is actually the supreme as compared to all of them. And Srila Prabhupada said that only by devotional service the supreme Lord can be appreciated. Only by devotional service. So I was also actually, I thought I was meditating on this point and try to understand what that means. That how come actually supreme is not appreciated by following other processes like Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga. So it is not that actually we cannot appreciate it, but actually the level of realization is actually different. As we studied self-inspection, the Srila Prabhupada made a statement, for example, for the Jnana Yoga, there it says that it is the incomplete realization of the complete. So, as we studied that actually we can only get to the certain point by following the actually Mayavadi actually process of Jnana Yoga. We can actually, they try to actually attain the Brahman state. So by doing that, they're actually not actually realizing the Krishna incomplete, not in his fullness, as Lord can actually realize as a Brahman, Paramatma, and the Bhagavan. So the three aspects of the absolute truth is not clearly realized. So yes, the Bhakti Yoga process is the only one that you realize all these three actually stages. You have the complete understanding, and by actually rendering devotional service, actually you can appreciate. So that point is also very important. That when I thought about it, actually, that unless you actually render a devotional service, you cannot actually appreciate Krishna. So in initial step, yeah, everyone can actually have faith. But just having that faith doesn't actually get to the state that you can actually appreciate the actually full glories of the Krishna, his opulences, his quality, pastime. That can be only appreciated when one engages in a devotional service. And that I learned by experience, because when we actually engage in the various services, then you actually realize Krishna more and more. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says that to the degree one is surrendered, to that degree actually he actually reveals himself. So unless he's actually revealing, we cannot able to appreciate it. So the formula is actually more and more devotional services we become engaged. Then actually more and more we can realize and appreciate Krishna, his glories, his qualities. So that's why maybe Srila Prabhupada made this statement, the Supreme Lord can appreciate it only by devotional service. And actually, how the service has to be performed is also actually very nicely explained. And actually, devotees, they have shared a very nice realization as well. That actually, here it says that giving up all their activities unto me, being devoted to me without deviation, engage in devotional service, always meditating upon me, having their mind fixed upon me. So all these actually, the instructions here, how the service has to be rendered. So it's actually given. And we have been learning these instructions right from the beginning. The transcendental mail also. Or when we studied other Bhagavad Gita, all these points actually they come up before as well. So yes, actually, I'm trying to engage in some services that we can progress. But actually, how the service is performed is not actually up to the mark. That actually not actually it's been executed with full actually focus on Krishna. There is always a material contamination because actually our objective is not actually minded focus on Krishna. So we are very much attached. I am very much attached. So all these actually materialistic things as well, because you are in the grahast life, and you have to do the job, you have to look up at the family, and that's why actually the attachments are there. And as long as the attachments are there, there is not a single focus. व्यवसायत्मिका बुद्धि एकेह कुरुनंद बहु शाखा ही अनंतस्य बुद्धयो व्यवसाय. So actually the intelligence is many branch. So to get to the stage that we have the one and one, the single focus, that is Krishna, and with that focus, when we render service, then actually we can actually able to progress. And also, Mataji also shared the realization. I also remember the transcendental mail, the instruction of His Holiness Mahavishnu Gautam Maharaj, that he actually instructed that service has to be performed in such a way that nobody should realize your presence. So this is very important and very hard instruction to follow, because there is always actually desire to seek the adoration. So it is there initially, and this is actually hard tendency to actually give up. So more I think about this instruction, then you realize that actually you are too far away from the actual, where you want to get. So we are actually, anyway, so there are many devotees and everybody is actually trying to engage themselves in the actual various services. That's a big all that. Now we are also actually engaging ourselves in preaching. But how we should preaching? Preaching to just glorify Krishna, so that is perfect. But actually, if we actually, as Amrish always says, that sometimes it gets into your head. So that's where actually the ahankar comes. And that's not actually pure devotional mission. But we try to actually proper holy. So this is just one example, but any service. There's some devotees that do not do the that is also the point to ponder. So, Srila Prabhupada in the initial stages, actually America, he stand alone under the tree, and he was actually doing the kirtan, when there is no one around. So that is a pure devotional service. So we have actually great examples in front of us. So I think those are the actually instructions, or these are the actually, Srila Prabhupada led by. We have to keep that in mind. And even actually there is no followers. We have to actually keep our service going, because the service is performed to please your spiritual master and please Lord Krishna, not to actually please ourselves. So I also remember this, that actually even preaching, so there is always a struggle, especially with me, that actually people sometimes come, they don't come. So we learn this instruction that even nobody turns up, we still actually preach, to preach to the walls. So all this instruction that I heard many years ago, in a very actually initial stages, when I was just a beginner, but those instructions were not meant just for the beginners. They are actually very important for the very advanced devotee as well. I'm not saying I'm advanced, but this instruction is applicable to all stages. That actually, why we do the service? Who's the object of service? Krishna is the ultimate objective. So that is a point. Actually, I try to actually meditate and realize that. Taking a garland, when you do the puja, or when we do the chanting. As Amrish always said, that it's not how we sing, means actually how good we sing. Actually, bhav, or actually the love, with the love, or actually the actual action towards Krishna is very, very important. You don't have to be singer, but there has to be desire to please Krishna. So these are actually the main points. Actually, I realized from this purpose. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for all your wonderful realizations. You covered all the points, and very nicely. Wonderful. We should conclude today's discussion. Jai. Shri Gurudev ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Krishna Sai Gaur Chandra Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Krishna Bhagavad
Hare
Gita
Bol.
ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guruji.